What is going on, everybody? Zach RC here. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome along to episode number 10 of the F1 Ultimate Career Series for the Canadian Grand Prix. If you guys did miss any of the last few episodes, make sure to go check those out before you see this one. And of course, make sure to get subscribed for more future F1 content as the series continues. So, moving on into the next race after Monaco, the Canadian Grand Prix, round number 7 of the championship. But of course, we have got some R&D points to spend after the last race in the Principality. And of course, the big thing from last episode was that durability upgrade that got failed in between the two race weekends. We've fixed that now. And we'll make a minor chassis upgrade, what we've got left. I feel like we've sort of neglected the chassis and the powertrain in particular over the course of this series so far. In terms of performance comparison, Haas have actually jumped us at points. We are right now the 8th fastest team. When those upgrades come through as we advance time here, that should hopefully change, provided they will go through okay. And of course, we have got one component we do need to change. Obviously, the control electronics box, which gave us problems over the course of Monaco, but did damage to all our components, but no issues towards the end of the race. All of them going through so far. Of course, a long gap between Monaco and Canada on the in the calendar here. But everything, all our upgrades going through okay. And we are now getting set for the race weekend. 837 more points to play around with. And that actually jumps us from 8th to 6th in terms of performance comparison. We have finally caught Renault. Of course, it will show up once we've completed this episode. So next time out, we'll go to Austria. We'll be able to get a better look at the graph and how we've managed to catch up to and pass Renault. And we're right behind McLaren too. So we're up to speed with those two cars. We're meant to change the control electronics box before I forget. And I've only got one more of those left. So I feel like we'll be taking at least one grid penalty for that over the course of the remainder of the second half of this season. In terms of the Drivers' Championship, it's still Verstappen leading the way at the minute. He currently commands the table by 21 points over Valtteri Bottas. Hamilton's still in third, just looking to bounce back from those two retirements earlier on the season. And in terms of our rivalry, it is now dead even with Aston Martin. We are tied after Monaco, so we managed to almost swing it back in our favour. I think a points finish would have done it. But we'll go for one more upgrade here on the chassis department before we actually get to the race weekend itself. We'll go for one more here, and that should help us push closer to McLaren. Of course, they've got the edge on us in terms of the chassis department, as you can see on the right there. We are now in front of Renault on that graphic. So that's all good, and that upgrade will come through hopefully for the next episode. Not sure in terms of when, but for now, though, it's time to jump towards Circuit Gilles Villeneuve and get set for the Canadian Grand Prix, round 7 of the season. Well, this is a turn up for the books then. Our first wet session in the F1 Ultimate Career Series. We've yet to deal with any rain whatsoever, and now we're dealing with it here in qualifying for the Canadian Grand Prix. So of course it'll be a task here for us to get up to speed and see whereabouts we stack up in the order over the course of this qualifying session. It'll be all dry for the race though, so no concerns there. If we do end up bottling it here, we can go full balls to the wall and charge through the field in the Grand Prix itself. That's when the points are scored. So out of the pit lane here on our intermediate tyres and getting set for our first flying lap. Just have to use this lap to keep the car under control. Don't take any damage, obviously, and from there we'll navigate the circuit as best we can. So pushing on now to the start of our first lap and going down that very short run towards the left-hander at turn 1. We've got a car right behind us there. That's the Haas of Kevin Magnussen we've got right behind us. He'll be pressurising us throughout this whole lap so we continue to get up to speed, which this lap will probably put down as a banker. To be honest, I don't feel like we'll get maximum pace out of the car here as I make our way through towards turns 3 and 4, the first chicane, or the second chicane on the circuit rather, and tapping the outside wall slightly, you get towards that first sector split, and our first time is a 24.7, not fantastic, definitely a lot of improvement to find there, going wide of the curb in turn 6, but hitting the curb in 7, so not too bad, but I struggle for control over the course of that. Overall it's 124.6, behind Bottas obviously, but in front of Magnussen. We're about 2 seconds back from the Mercedes, which is about what we are normally in terms of dry weather running. But it comes to the last corner on our second lap, we've made a big improvement and a big slide out of turn 14 with the wall of champions is waiting. We still have to the other side, lost about 3/10, but our time improves to 1:23.9. That keeps us in P7 right now, behind one Haas in Romain Grosjean, but in front of the other in Magnussen, and Giovinazzi also there behind us as well in terms of times being set. But Latifi's beating us at the minute, that's not something we're used to. So we'll accelerate time here, move on further in to see where we stack up compared to everyone else in the field. P18 from that first run, so we've got a lot of work to do to try and improve. So put on a fresh set of intermediate tyres and we'll go again for another effort and see what we've got in the tank for a second round now that we've got a bit more feeling under the car in terms of these wet conditions. So pushing on now to our third lap, ending the first sector, 23.5, that's a purple first sector. I think that's probably a sign of the track probably getting slightly, the rain perhaps getting slightly lighter, the track not being as heavy in terms of wet condition. But pushing further on now, we'll keep going this lap. We're making huge improvements. 1.3 seconds up, 1.4, 1.5, 1.6 on our previous effort. Big gains in this second sector. If we can hit another purple, we could be on a good chance. I don't want to say it, but we could be looking at provisional pole at maximum. So I'm not too sure in terms of where Bottas and Hamilton's time stack up as of right now. I assume they're the ones in the lead at the minute. Have seen the top of the board for a little while. As we make our way out the hairpin at turn 10 through 11, and now that very light right-hander at turn 12 coming up. Of course, DRS zone in the dry conditions, going down towards the last chicane on the circuit, which will also be a DRS zone on exit. But none of that for us today. Towards the last corner now, looking to nail this, trying to improve by a full 2 seconds. Braking slightly early into turn 13 on corner X, trying to avoid that slide, which we do. And we're going to improve by 1.8, 1.9 seconds. It's going to be very tight. Can we improve by 2? Only just under 2, but 1:21.9 is enough for P4 in the running order. Splitting the two Red Bulls of Verstappen and Albon, and that'll be a marker to put down. Honestly, I thought that'd be enough, and it's at this point where I learned a very crucial lesson about why you don't end qualifying early.
Qualifying complete, let's review our top 3 today. Hamilton, Leclerc and Max Verstappen. Well, that wraps up qualifying, but don't worry, we'll be back tomorrow as we head into the Grand Prix.
So Hamilton takes pole then with Leclerc in second, Verstappen in third. We qualified P19. In that time I accelerated, the track was bone dry as a result, and everyone else got times in on the intermediates. I'm not sure what happened, but I suppose not going out for that last run has cost us massively. So in future, I think we'll never avoid going for that last run, despite thinking that I thought P4 was enough. But it's P19 for us, and all of a sudden we've got a lot more work to do, but we like it that way. It's more fun. Let's see what we can do in the race.
Bonjour, it's time once again to go racing here in Montreal, the second largest French-speaking city in the world, and home since 1978 to the Canadian Grand Prix. We'll be seeing top speeds of around 210 miles an hour here at the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, with around 2/3 of the lap taken at full throttle. High-speed chicanes spell potential danger, especially at the infamous Wall of Champions. And watch out for overtaking into the hairpin and the final chicane. Also here, of course, is Anthony Davidson. Let's talk about Cohen. No grip penalties, no mitigating circumstances, just a poor qualifying performance and a very disappointing start position for them today.
They'll have a sinking feeling as they look up from the cockpit and realise they're in a different postcode to the start line for sure. But the one positive they can hold on to is that the car is quick and they can make their way through the field.
It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Lewis Hamilton lines up on pole position, and it's Charles Leclerc in P2. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Verstappen, Bottas, Alexander Albon, and Stroll, Vettel, Perez, Ocon, and Roman Grosjean. Norris, Gasly, Carlos Sainz, and Magnussen, Latifi, Russell, Kimi Raikkonen, and Daniel Ricciardo. Cohen and Antonio Giovinazzi starts from the back of the grid. Which of these talented drivers will come out on top today?
Okay, this is Jeff, can you hear me? Listen, a points finish might be too much to ask today, but give it your best shot.
And after that snide comment from Jeff, it is no more talking and time for action at the Canadian Grand Prix from P19, back row of the grid. That's worse than we qualified in Monaco, and no grid penalties to save us this time. We've got a lot of work to do. 2 stops for this race, starting on the softs and going on to 2 sets of mediums, one after the other to close things out. It's time for an absolute charge towards the points paying places. Here come the lights for the 7th race of the season, the Canadian Grand Prix, what could be our toughest challenge yet. Lights out, foot to the floor, we are underway here in Montreal. Everyone gets jumbled up in front of us on the start. Giovinazzi gets a better drive away. We'll switch to his outside, going towards that first corner. Short run to the left-hander at turn number 1. Ricciardo and Raikkonen going side by side in front of us. We've got the inside line for 2. They'll help us jump in front of Giovinazzi, but it's all a traffic jam as they make way through this second corner. On corner exit sliding a little bit, but crucially jumping in front of Giovinazzi. That's enough to maintain P19 as we go into turn 3 for the first time. Kimi Raikkonen, a bit of a tap to the back of Alfa Romeo there. Got a bit too aggressive, a bit too excited on the throttle going into the corner, but making our way now through towards turn 6. Diving to the inside of the fin, into the corner and avoiding contact just about, and we're trying to dispatch both Alfa Romeos in one go here. Giovinazzi behind us, Raikkonen behind us too. P18 then, that's 1 spot gained off the race start. Ricciardo and Latifi are next 2 targets. Now at one point Ricciardo was on provisional pole in that qualifying session when I started to accelerate times, go over the curb there, big mistake. I want to try and avoid doing that. Ricciardo to the outside of Latifi, going towards the hairpin at turn 10. Going to try and make a dicey move here, down the inside of both of them, try and go 3 wide on his opening lap. It's going to be very tight if we can get both of them. It'll be fantastic. I only get one here. Ricciardo gets away, but get Latifi with a better drive off and using our back 2 to our advantage, jumping into P17. So that's 2 places now on the opening lap, and Daniel Ricciardo, our next target as we continue on down towards the World Champions for the first time. 34 laps to go, and P17 at the minute. So on to the start, lap 3. Ricciardo now challenging George Russell. The other Williams up in front. I feel like it's going to be a good charge between myself and Ricciardo throughout the course of this race today. Ricciardo down the inside of our compatriot in the Williams, makes the move stick, takes P15 away. Russell down one place to P16. So that makes Russell our next target as we make our way through towards 3 and 4, and now up through 5 and 6 once again through the gears, going towards the left-hander. Can we make a move to the inside of Russell again, as we did on Raikkonen earlier on this race, down the inside of the Williams and up into P16. The place is ours now, and once again, no one separating us from Ricciardo except a fair bit of time there. Look how much time Ricciardo's pulled away from already after just making that move a few corners ago. So Ricciardo once again our next target. Everyone on soft tyres makes our task a lot more difficult here, as we push on towards the end of lap number 3, closing in a fair bit through turn 13 and 14. We'll have to milk those track limits for all their worth today in order to try and make up some places, but of course avoiding the warnings. DRS in deploy, going to pull to the inside of the racetrack, trying to outbreak the Honey Badger down the inside and up into P15. That place is ours now, so that's another place gained from the opening few laps. And Kevin Magnussen in the Haas now our next target. Of course, we had a fair fight with Verstappen with Magnussen over the course of the last race in Monaco, because he is now our next target on our hit list, and it's a long hit list to get towards the front of the order. Up front, it's still Hamilton leading. He's starting on pole and is dominating right now in Verstappen form, as Verstappen was in the last few races. Looks like Hamilton might be trying to get his own back, but in terms of our race, Magnussen right in front of us, going to try and go for the same move as we did with Ricciardo in towards that first corner, and Magnussen is now in our mirrors, and we're into P14. So these medium tyres still doing a good job against the soft tyre runners, and that's the majority of drivers in the field here on lap 6. But on to lap 8 now this Grand Prix. Sainz and Norris, our next two targets in the McLarens. Of course, McLaren is a team we're struggling in terms of matching on pace, but in terms of the R&D chart, we're right behind them. But on track, I don't think it matters too much. We're close enough to have a solid battle with these two cars. Got to make a move on Sainz. Yellow flag behind us. Not sure who for. Down inside of Sainz. Can we take Norris too? Very, very big ask, but can't quite do it. We'll keep Sainz behind us and we'll move Norris back in front. So Norris takes P12 away. So it'll be a DRS game down towards the last two corners on the circuit, closing in all the time on the McLaren, but he's got DRS of his own. And George Russell is out of the race. We only forced him a few laps ago, and now he's out. Safety car's been deployed, and that's a big change. Norris goes darting off into the pit lane. His first stint is over on those soft tyres, and a potential new strategy for us too. But what's happened to George Russell, who seems to have just conked out the race completely? Only those 2 Alfa Romeos behind him. He hasn't had a fantastic race so far. I imagine this problem he may have been dealing with the first 8 laps or so. There's a big puff of smoke out of the Williams, and that is the telltale sign. Tells you all you need to know. Holds up Raikkonen and Giovinazzi for good measure, and actually takes a chunk of Giovinazzi's end plate off that car. So the Alfa Romeo team have got repairs to do when Giovinazzi enters the pit lane. But in terms of Russell, he won't make it back to the pits. His race is over. There goes the Mercedes engine in the back of that car, up in smoke, pulls it over, and that is the day done for George Russell. Now at this point I've realised a crucial thing when I was asked to change strategy, that I actually put the wrong strategy on. So that's my idiotic mistake for us starting on the medium tyres. We didn't need to do that. We intended to start on the softs. And I very nearly went with Gasly staying out on the racetrack, but instead we're going to come in and make a change to our tactics in terms of tyres. So we'll switch to that strategy, go on a set of softs, and then go for a set of mediums to the end of the race. So that is still the plan, fortunately. So we can salvage that, but a free pit stop under the safety car will lose considerably less time. Stroll out the race too. What's happened to him? That's a retirement, bringing out the safety car and then one under the safety car. What has Stroll done to warrant a retirement of 9 laps into this Canadian Grand Prix, and its home race no less? Lance Stroll looking to have some kind of problem as everyone was forming up behind the safety car. Vettel right there behind him, making the move around the outside, Stroll letting him go. And no smoke as it was with Russell, so not sure what's happened to Lance Stroll, but it's game over for him. And there we are, making our first change onto the soft tyres. And of course the plan there, as I say, is keep going on those to about lap 19, lap 20, and from there we'll go on a set of mediums to check a flag, and we'll see we're about to get us points-wise, if we can get back to the points. It's been a fairly solid effort so far. We're up to P14 at the minute. Of course, we lost a place or two under that safety car because a few cars have stayed out that should have pitted but didn't. But coming on to the end of lap number 11, the safety car is coming in at the end of this lap, and once again we'll go back to fighting Ricciardo and then Magnussen. So those two, I believe, yet to make their first pit stop. So we'll take advantage of that and see we're about to stack up. So here we go now, about to get racing once again. From the safety car coming back in the pit lane around turn 14, the green flag goes back in the air. Soft tyres now on our AlphaTauri, and charging towards that first corner against the medium tyre Ricciardo towards turn 1, back down the inside as we've done already on him today, and I think he's probably getting sick of the sight of us by this point. Around the outside at turn 2, that is one place up on the restart, and now I'm going to try and get to work on Kevin Magnussen almost immediately here, going towards turn 3. Consider the move, not worth it, definitely too far back to even consider a move. We went alongside him given a corner like that. However, up in turn 6, the left-hander going into this chicane here. We'll make a move on Magnussen, as we've done several times on other drivers in this race. That's P12, so more or less back we were before that safety car came out, and we'll resume fighting Lando Norris. Valtteri Bottas has made his first stop down the inside of Norris from a long way back from distance there behind the McLaren on the medium tyre. And Gasly now our next target in front of us, but Norris not done yet, still fighting on the outside. Can we clear him? He's going to pull back alongside if he can get enough battery to use on the exit, but won't go for it. Saves his battery. We went for a bit more, and now Gasly is our next target. Our teammate is scrapping him once again here. But as we go about to do that, Gasly goes pulling off into the pit lane, and honestly, I don't see why people didn't pit under that initial safety car. I get about half the field were past the pit lane when it came out, but the cars behind us, I'm not sure did. But regardless, in terms of tactics, that puts us into P4, and we're now on a set of soft tyres. Only Bottas, Verstappen and Hamilton in front, but behind us, we've got a very hard charging Lando Norris, who makes a move into P4 on lap number 14, at the end of lap number 14, and gets a bit loose off the last corner, so we tap into the back of him. No damage done to our front wing, fortunately. We're staying close to our compatriot in the McLaren. Can we charge down the inside once again? Yes, we can. Another place claimed at turn 1. Another car we've claimed at turn 1. We've claimed 3 different machines at that first corner over the course of the first 15 laps of this race. But on to lap 16 now. Norris still not done giving us trouble. He's half a second back from us at the minute, and a particularly poor exit out of turn 9 towards 10 gives him a chance down the inside of the racetrack. Close to contact. See the sparks flying as we charge into the hairpin. Norris has the inside line, but the outside gets a better drive off. Slaps tapping the wall slightly on corner exit, and now through 11 and then towards 12. The DRS is in play. Who gets it? It's going to be Norris who gets it. We were in front of the detection point, obviously. It was very close side by side, but Norris will get it. And now going towards turn 13 and 14, he jumps in front with the DRS to his assistance and now takes P4 away from us. Of course, this is a miracle drive, and P4 is significant in this case because P4 is where we would have been in qualifying, perhaps had we done a third run. But if we can charge back to that place, that'd be fantastic for us. But at the end of lap number 19, Norris is pulling away by about a second or so, and it's a good thing too because our soft tyres are falling off. So it's time now for our second and final stop of this Canadian Grand Prix. So we'll charge into the pit lane here, slowing down to the pit limit, just making it in there. I found myself not using the pit limiter button as much going in. I sort of just slow down and hope for the best. And so far it's worked a treat for us. In the past, in terms of F1 games, Canada's been a place where pit strategy has also been fantastic for us, and it's working out a dream at the minute. If we could go from P19 to P4 at best in this race. The medium tyres are now on the race car. We'll be on these for the remaining 16 laps of this Grand Prix onto lap 20, and emerging from the pit lane in P12 here. Latifi is about a second behind going through, but in terms of a lap later on lap 21, a few more cars coming into the pit lane brings it up to P11, and Esteban Ocon, our next target to back in the points. We could finish as high as P11, as I say. P10 I'd take us a points finish, but Ocon a bit loose there, out of turn 7. We'll go for a move to the inside of the racetrack towards 8. It's going to be very close side by side with the Frenchman going towards the chicane. On the inside, we've got a better line going in. Can we go around the outside through the left hand of turn 9, tapping the wall slightly? Ocon might stay with us here. It's very close, but we jump in front. Will he try and go for a move to the inside, going towards the hairpin? Not a bit of it. We'll maintain our place for the moment. It's going to be very close over the remainder of this Grand Prix. A number of cars are still dangerously fast and may find themselves perhaps on soft tyres later on. Not sure if anyone's planning to make second stops in terms of cars in front of us or cars behind, but I see what the state of play is. Ocon falling away from us though now. Leclerc in the pit lane. Number of cars coming in, and these should be the cars that take us back to P4. Perez enters the pits. No cars in front of us in terms of directly in front. Bottas, Hamilton and Verstappen are well off in the distance. They're well into sector 2 by now. We are now back up to P4, or as close to P4. Lando Norris is making the pit lane. It's going to be very tight. See if we can beat the McLaren here. There he is on the outside. It's going to be very close. We're going to jump narrowly in front, and it is Lando Norris taking P5, Ocon in P6. All of our rivals and other teams right behind us. Of course, Ocon, our direct rival in the rivalry. Of course, a higher finish than him will definitely give us a point or two to our name in front. But there's still a number of good cars. Magnussen, Ricciardo, who could give us trouble. On to lap 24, we've got hold of this entire train that's back here. Norris is going to the outside, bit of contact there. Didn't see him coming until it was too late and almost slammed into the wall, ruined our race entirely. Norris on the inside there. We're giving him a good chance. He's going to give him the space this time. He's on the outside going towards turn 10. He's in front of the braking zone. Can we dive to his inside? Not quite. Norris gets back in front of us once again, and we find ourselves chasing that McLaren once more. Magnussen then Sainz behind. McLaren offers some good points in this race. Hamilton the fastest lap. He is dominating. Look at the gap he's got to his teammate Valtteri Bottas as we run back towards turn 13 ourselves. And no DRS to our name because again we were in front of Norris when we hit the detection point and going into the last corner. Norris comes in and he's making his change onto another set of tyres. So all of a sudden that's P4 again for us. Once again we've been saved there by Norris's tyre strategy. But Kevin Magnussen, who is not done with us yet, he's had a fantastic resurgence in recent races and is now a regular points contender. He's on our inside here for what looks to be a big score for Haas as well if he can finish the job and try and take P4 from us side by side out of turn 10 and through 11. Magnussen will not give up. He's clinging on. He's trying to stay within a corner of us for dear life, and the DRS is now in his favour and charging through on the right hand side. Magnussen takes P4 away from us, but of course plenty of time to try and get that back, which will take a lot of chasing because these medium tyres are getting older and older as the laps continue on. I think Magson's are slightly younger than ours. So closing in now towards the last few laps of this race, onto lap 29, and closing once more on K-Mag. Not a lot of fuel to play around with either. Normally they're trying to kick it into rich mix, as we have done for the majority of this race, and try and get around that way, but now to use DRS and battery and what's left of our battery to our advantage here. Down the main straight towards turn 1 once again, down the inside of Magson. Another move at the first corner. We've made it stick, and that is P4 once again for us, but I won't count him out just yet. I'll tell you who else I won't count out. Daniel Ricciardo, who's closing in. He's right behind Sainz here at the start of lap 30, but by lap number 33, he has managed to dispatch Sainz and is almost dispatching Magson too on the inside, going towards the right-hander at turn 10. It's going to be very tight between these two. Someone's got to win. Ricciardo on the inside takes the place of Magson, who falls out of favour and has had to be challenged by Sainz behind. And once again, I'm getting deja vu. It feels like we're always fighting Ricciardo for these places, especially when we need them in the closing laps of a race. So we're only got to hold on for 2 laps. There goes Ricciardo, will give us a chance to respond. Down the inside of the racetrack, going towards turn 13. Ricciardo takes P4 away, and that's 2 more points we can really use for our championship. AlphaTauri in the constructors against one of our main rivals in that constructor standings. 2 laps to go here in Canada. Can we get back around Ricciardo? It's going to take a lot of strength, and a lot of DRS, and a lot of battery to stand any chance, which we don't have a lot going into the last lap and a half of this race. Closing on Ricciardo again, down towards turn 13. Not enough, not close enough at all. Nowhere near close enough. 1 more lap to go to try and take P4 back and claim the result we need in this miracle drive from P19. Ricciardo started P18. We've charged through the field together. It's going to come down to this final lap to see who takes the place. But in terms of up front, Lewis Hamilton has dominated today. He's on his way down towards turn 13 for the final time. And a mojo that seemed to have been lost in recent races. Retirement in Bahrain, retirement in Spain. He's watched Verstappen win the last 3 races. No more. Hamilton wins in Canada. Bottas will come up in second, and Verstappen, the championship leader, will maintain his lead in the championship and take 3rd. But it's not over yet between myself and Ricciardo, down towards turn 10 for the last time to the inside of the hairpin. Can we make the move stick? Going a bit wide on our line. Ricciardo tries to switch back on corner exit, gets back alongside. It's going to come down to DRS once again. We got it this time. Let's see if we can get enough for charge going towards the last 2 corners of the circuit. We're going to have DRS to our play. Moving back into line behind Ricciardo and charging towards the last chicane. Following in his wake all the time, putting to the left-hand side, to the outside of the racetrack, going towards the final corner. Ricciardo is there, going to get the better line going through, getting all out of shape on corner exit, and that's all we need. The miracle drive is complete. We run to the line and claim P4 and 12 points. Our best finish in Formula 1 yet. That was immensely close on that final lap. What a Grand Prix. P19 to P4, miracle drive. And I don't think I've driven like that in quite a while. What a fantastic day.
So Mercedes have won it, and what a great race it was. So Anthony, what made the difference out there today?
Well, the safety car completely changed the race, didn't it? It's hard to say exactly what would have happened without it, but there's no question that they came out of that situation in a good position.
And I can see the drivers starting to approach the podium for the victory celebrations. A real team victory today. Everybody played their part. Congratulations then to Mercedes, your race winners today.
So Hamilton wins in from Bottas and Verstappen, and as the adrenaline comes down, we finish just behind these guys, 1 place off the podium. Let's have a look now at the final results from the Canadian Grand Prix and how that changes the championship picture.
So let's review the updated driver standings. Max Verstappen should be pleased with his performance, making gains at the top of the table. Let's focus on the driver of the day. Anthony Davidson, who do you pick?
I have to give it to Cohen. They fought so hard and had incredible pace at times, so I don't think anyone else did a better job today.
It's time to check out the constructors' standings. Mercedes continue to extend their lead. Meanwhile, AlphaTauri's strong weekend allows them to continue their march up the table. And with that, we wrap up another weekend of motorsport. But with more races lined up, be sure to join us when we come back with more Formula 1.
So the remainder of the top 10 is as follows. We come in with 4th, Ricciardo to 5th, Magnussen 6th, big score for Haas, Sainz in 7th, Raikkonen fall back to 8th, Albon finishes 9th, and Leclerc in 10th. I feel like Albon, Leclerc and Vettel were the ones that perhaps fell off in favour of myself, Ricciardo and Magnussen, who came from the back in this race. Verstappen holds on to his championship lead by losing a few points to Bottas, but Hamilton back in the picture, just 34 back now, and we jump to P9 in the championship, tied with Sainz and 3 in front of Gasly, outscoring our teammate for the first time overall this season. And AlphaTauri jumped to 5th in the standings, 1 point back from Renault, Racing Point 2 back from us, and McLaren 3 back from us. 4 teams covered by 4 points. It's going to be a very close finish for 4th place, but we are involved going towards the second half of the season. But guys, that'll do it for this episode of the F1 Ultimate Career Series. I do hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to like, share and subscribe for more future F1 content. Have a fantastic day, and I'll see you in my next video. Goodbye.